One greetings from the high 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. This is a very short, brief live, another live for this afternoon. I'm confused at what's going on out in Cal City. I'd like to know why law officials did not tell the public that they found remains in Cal City or near Cal City. Whether it's the children or not, doesn't matter. People go missing every day. So I'm going to ask this question to law officials. What is the secrecy about the remains? Because something is off and something is missed. Almost a year. Well, it is a year of nothing. No information, no updates, no nothing. We didn't hear anything from the biological mother, except for the first of the year of 2021. Then the father, alleged father of the children, comes forward in what? September, October. He never steps up, says nothing. Now all of a sudden he's filing a lawsuit to the Kern County, against Kern County. He's hired attorneys, and I'm confused at what the fuck is going on. And I don't understand the motivation behind your law officials, why you would not announce that you found remains. There are too many people missing in America, period, and you won't tell anybody anything. Then we hear through this guy, Mr. Pettis, that he's filing a lawsuit against Kern County for said situations, wrongful death. They've asked for DNA, law officials, which means they found something that would lead them to think that they were small children or a child found. So let me go get the DNA from the biological family, which that's a natural thing to do. When you have a missing person, missing people, you think it might be these people, relative. Well, let's go to them and see. Let's get DNA. Okay. But the part that makes no sense is, why is it a secret that you found the remains? Make me understand. It's callous and it's petty. Because too many people are concerned about the children and where they are. Just like other missing people. Let me make this clear. There are many people missing in America and in the state of California. You all have a high rate of missing people in California, period. So I want to say it again. What is the secrecy to not letting the public know about the remains found? They belong to somebody. Whether they are the Cal City boys or one of the boys, it doesn't matter. They belong to somebody. So I'm trying to understand the motivation of not telling the public. Number two, Mr. Pettis. This is something I meant to say last night when I said I had something on the tip of my tongue and I couldn't remember. I'd like to know, when did you hire an attorney to sue Kern County Department of Human Services? Because you see, what will be interesting to know is that you only hired an attorney when they came asking for DNA. Did you hear that? When law officials came and asked you and your relatives for DNA. Because that means if you only hired an attorney when law officials came asking for DNA, then that means you're not in it for the right reason, filing the lawsuit. So did you file the lawsuit 4 or 5 months ago? 2 months ago? Before law officials came asking for DNA? And I'm wondering if you'll tell the truth of when you actually filed a lawsuit out of the state of California against the Kern County Department of Human Services. Because as I said, what will be crass is if we find out you only filed a lawsuit when they came asking you for DNA, which led you to believe that possibly the remains that were found wherever belong to your children. And then that means you're not filing the lawsuit for the right reasons. And I'm not making any accusations. I just found that interesting when I was reading all the information last night on my channel, that was something that came to my mind. How crazy it is that nobody knew anything about any remains found near Cal City. Your alleged lawyers are speaking, and he didn't even act as if he knew where the remains were found. He had to think about it before he spoke it. When the reporter was asking where were the remains found, near Bakersfield or Cal City, he stuttered. And as I said, he didn't seem to be in tune in knowing what the hell's going on pertaining to the case. But how could he if he was just hired on? Yeah, that part. Were these attorneys just hired on by you, sir, and your family when law officials came to you asking for DNA, for verifications in the remains that were found? Because if you just hired these attorneys when law officials approached you with giving a DNA sample, then that means you never cared for the children and you're only doing this for monetary gain. And we also know how hard it is to win a lawsuit against any government office or agency. Because as I said in my live last night, you and the attorneys were talking around in circles in these interviews. The question is, where were you when the children were removed from the mother's care? And one thing I did not mention in the live last night that some people don't know, and some people do know, is that this woman, female rather, had a total of 4 children in her custody total. And the older 2 went to their prospective fathers to be raised. So it wasn't just about the Cal City boys. She had 2 other children who were raised by different fathers who stepped in when they saw what was going on with the state intervening with the last baby that was taken that could not breathe. So there were 4 children, all living separately out of the care of Ryan Dean. So I want to ask you again in this live, where were you, Mr. Pettis, when Ryan Dean lost custody of her baby boys, one at a time? Where were you? Baby number 1 was taken. Baby number 2 was taken. Why did you never come forward when she came forward, when the children were reported missing? Why did you wait damn near 10 months before making yourself visible to the public that you are indeed the biological father of the said children? And why are you now, sir, filing a lawsuit against the Kern County DHS office? You see, it was one thing, this woman losing all 4 children, and you procreated with her. She comes forward, and then she falls off. You never come forward saying a damn thing, just your cousin being the mouthpiece for the boys, which I felt was so despicable. And then now you roll into town on a high horse, acting like you're concerned about the children. And for one brief moment, I could have thought you had some empathy for the children listening to you in the interview. But the one thing I had to tell myself was the obvious. Is that the children stayed in the state's care a whole year before being adopted by Jacqueline and Giselle West. So that means you and Ryan Dean or anybody else in your family, friends, had ample enough time to go to the state and prove to the state that you were worthy for taking in those 2 small children. And as I've said in this live, this female had a total of 4 children, 2 older ones taken by their fathers when they saw what was going on with Ryan Dean losing custody of the remaining babies So where were you and Miss Brenda day one when her children were taken out of her custody? So to say now, we didn't know where they were, we didn't know where they sent them, is bullshit. Where were you when she first lost custody? Why were you not prospect number one? And your mother, prospect number two. I call a spade a spade. I don't know what's going on out there, but it doesn't look good. And it looks even worse that no one knew of any remains out there with all these missing people in America and California. And out of the blue, you come forward months ago doing an interview, and now you hired an attorney to sue the state. So as I said, are you only suing the state because remains have been recovered and they needed DNA to verify that you indeed are the father of the remains? Because if that is true, you are no better, no different than Ryan Dean and Jacqueline and Giselle West and anybody that aided them in harming or discarding those precious babies. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you all for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Justice for the Cow City Boys. Amen.